What's going on, bottom line viewers? It's Dylan back here for another video, and today we are doing a video that I previously did in 2017, but we're updating it for the 2018 season. It's 5 records that could be broken in 2018. One record in particular won't be broken, but it's a very rare achievement. The other 4, I think, can be broken, could be broken. There's a chance. Of course, records, they're the top peak of athletic sports, something that you always want to reach for. Well, I guess not every record you want to reach for, but there's some really great records out there that are at, the top of the top. Dogs have these records, and every year we're like, is there somebody new that's going to come in and break this seemingly unbreakable record? There could be a chance that some of these guys this year are able to accomplish at least one of these things on this list. I would really like to see it. I know for a fact probably 2 of them are going to happen, but the other 3 we'll see yet to be seen. And it's always the interest level. The intrigue level for me is very high to see if any of these guys can accomplish these 5 records. They're going to be broken. And I want you guys to stick around and listen to this video. So here are the top 5 records that can be broken in 2018. At number 5, I have the 3rd running back to have a 1,000 yard season. That means 1,000 yards rushing and 1,000 yards receiving. Only 2 players have ever done it in the history of the NFL, and that's why it's at number 5, because at least one person has accomplished it. It's very difficult to break this record here, but you can get the most total yards, I guess. Roger Craig in 1985 did it for the 49ers, and Marshall Faulk did it in 1999 for the Rams. The most likely candidate to do this in 2018, I believe, is David Johnson. David Johnson's one of the best running backs in the league when he's healthy. We didn't get to see it last year, of course. He was hurt in the first game of the season, but in 2016, if you look at that campaign, over 1,200 yards rushing, 879 yards receiving. Very, very close to getting to that record right there. And the Cardinals' offense is centered around 2 men. That's Larry Fitzgerald and David Johnson. He's going to carry the ball a lot. A lot of people speculate he's probably the 2nd, 3rd best running back in the game. And, he hurt his wrist last year. It's not like he tore his ACL, so he's going to be pretty good coming off of injury. This guy's explosive, he's quick, and the best thing about him is that he can score touchdowns anywhere on the field. He's going to be dynamic wherever you put him, at the receiving spot or rushing the ball with those big, huge rushes like the Marshawn Lynch 2.0 kind of thing. So I'm really excited to see what David Johnson can bring here in 2018. I think he'll have a very good campaign, and I actually really want to see him break this record. I think it would be pretty cool to see a guy like David Johnson do it. Ezekiel Elliott, Todd Gurley, Le'Veon Bell, Saquon Barkley. There are some pretty good choices here as well. Alvin Kamara. But I think David Johnson is the biggest and best example of this record being broken. So at number 5, I have the 3rd running back to have a 1,000 yard season. At number 4, I have most sacks in a season. The record is held by Michael Strahan at 22.5 sacks. One of the best defensive players of the mid to late 90s and early 2000s. The guy was extremely dominant on the defensive line, but this record is kind of controversial in the fact that the sack at week 17 that Brett Favre kind of just gave to him, basically gave him this record, but he still had a very dominant season when he did it. But let's look at the guys that could do it in 2018. I got 3 candidates. There's, of course, a lot of other guys that could be able to break this, but I'm going to mention these 3 guys. Joey Bosa, coming into his 3rd year, absolutely dominant in his first 2 seasons. I think he has a good chance of doing it. That Chargers defense is awesome. They'll get a lot of pressure. I think he has a chance to do it. Chandler Jones from the Arizona Cardinals, a guy that you don't really think about, but he led the league in sacks last year with 17, so a guy like Chandler Jones should get a little bit more appreciation, and he could break this record, if he keeps up his dominant pace and that Cardinals defense keeps rolling. And of course, Von Miller, a guy that's been in this conversation for a couple of years, a guy that's working with the Broncos defense and always puts in the work and effort and the energy, and somebody like that could definitely do it. Of course, a bunch of other guys can break this record. J.J. Watt was the closest man to do it since the 22.5 sack record. Well, I know Jared Allen was, but he was right at the top there as well with a couple of 20 sack seasons. I don't know if he'll be 100% healthy at this point or if he's going to be close to his dominant, but there's a lot of other guys that could break this record, but 22.5 sacks seems doable. That's a little more than a sack a game, of course. And there's a lot of guys, like I said, that could break this record. I just see it as one of those records that could easily fall in terms of single season records. So at number 4, I have most sacks in a season. A lot of contenders on here. At number 3, I have most passing yards in a season, the record being held by Peyton Manning in his 2013 campaign, 5,477 passing yards. I feel like this is one of the easier single-season stats to break. Not necessarily in the fact that it's easy to throw the 5,000 yards. Do not get me wrong. But in terms of records and the amount of QBs circulating that could do this, I feel like it's a rather easy record to break. Drew Brees had the record in 2011 with 5,476. Peyton Manning said, hold my beer, got one more yard than Drew Brees. And that's why he's one of the top 3 candidates on here, in my opinion, to break this record, because he's thrown for 5,000 yards 5 times. No other QB in the history of the game has done it more than once, and he's done it 5 times. So he's easily the number 1 candidate to break this record, because it was his own record before then. Tom Brady, he also has a 5,000-yard season. I think he's very capable of doing it, of course, with that Patriots offense. It's likely we'll see close to at least 5,000. Could get over the mark there. Aaron Rodgers has never had a 5,000-plus yard season throwing the ball, but I think he's very capable of doing it. He's healthy, he's confident, and he wants to show that he's still the best QB, and he just got hella paid, so I think he wants to show his worth to the Green Bay organization. A guy like Matthew Stafford is also considered for this record because he's had a 5,000-yard season. He knows how to throw the ball. He's a gunslinger in today's modern NFL. A couple of other guys that you could see are considered on this list, but these are the top 3 guys, and I feel like this could be a possible record to break, and Drew Brees especially. I mean, Drew Brees is the man when it comes to passing yards. The thing is now he has a run game, so maybe that'll take a little bit away from it. But yeah, number 3, most passing yards in a season, 5,477, I think could be. At number 2, I have most field goals / points in a career, 565 field goals and 2,544 points. These last 2 records are very specific because they will be broken. Morton Anderson holds the record for most field goals and points by a player in NFL history. 565 field goals, that's insane. And that points total is pretty crazy too. He's kicked for a lot of different teams over the years, and he did a very good job at having this record. But the man himself, Adam Vinatieri, the ageless wonder, is going to break this record pretty dang soon. He's less than 10 field goals away from getting the field goal record, and he's pretty close to the point record as well. He's played, of course, for the Patriots, winning a couple Super Bowls down there and winning a Super Bowl for the Colts in 2006. Adam Vinatieri has done it all, basically. He is the ageless wonder. If you go back to even last season when he was playing against the Bills in that snow game and he kicked that field goal where it just curved in at the last second, that was awesome. Vinatieri gives us those great moments, and he will have this record in 2018. It's not one of these single-season records where it's possible. It will happen if Adam Vinatieri is healthy for like even 6 games of the year. He will definitely have that record. So Adam Vinatieri, number 2 on this list. He will have the most field goals and points in a career by the end of 2018. And the number 1 record that could be broken in 2018 is most passing yards all time by a quarterback in his career. 71,838 is the record that is currently held by Brett Favre, the gunslinger of the NFL. When you hear the word gunslinger, you most associate it with the legend Brett Favre. He would throw that ball down the field like it was nobody's business. He holds this record. It's a very, very good record, one of the best in the history of the game, but a man will break this record, and it's Drew Brees, one of my favorite QBs of all time. He has 70,445 yards right now before the start of the 2018 season. He'll do it anywhere between Week 5, maybe Week 7 is probably the best bet because they have a bye in Week 6. I think Week 7 is probably the best bet, but he will break this record if he's healthy. And just to add a little spice onto it, I know it's not a record, but it's a pretty cool achievement. He needs 4,555 passing yards to have 75,000 total yards. That's a nice even number, 75,000, by the end of the season. So he could also reach that milestone, which would be pretty insane and pretty awesome, honestly. So yeah, Drew Brees, pretty close to breaking this record, 1,400 yards around there from breaking this record, and 4,500 or so away from getting 75,000. So this record, I definitely expect to be broken in 2018. And that is going to do it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed looking at these records and just getting a perspective on how the NFL changes from one year to the next with all these great players in the league that we have today. Let me know in the comment section below, do you agree with this, at least the first 3 that I mentioned, because those are records that are kind of, we'll see if they happen. 2 and 1 are pretty much going to happen. But, let me know, are there any records that you know that could be broken? If you enjoyed this video, smash the like button and subscribe to the Bottom Line View. We're very, very close to the start of the NFL season. I mentioned it on Twitter a little bit ago that we are going to be doing 2 live streams for week 1 in terms of live game reactions. We're going to be doing the Texans-Patriots game, which is at 12 Central, Sunday. I believe it's September 9th? September 9th, if I'm pretty sure about that. So September 9th, we're going to do the Texans-Patriots live reactions game. And then we're going to do Monday Night Football, not the first game, but the second game between the Rams and the Raiders. That starts at 9:20 Central. So, tune in on ESPN or CBS or whatever. Watch the game with us. We can't show the game, but we will be live reacting and giving our analysis to those games. So stay tuned. A lot more NFL content on the way. Doing the Bottom Line View. Peace.